Welcome back to Season 3 of Neranenah Scholars. This is the last episode of this season, and we hope you've enjoyed it. And we hope you'll stay tuned for news on Season 4 coming soon. But in the meantime, enjoy Episode 3 of Season 3. Thanks so much. Even going back as far back as Gershwin, you'll find everyone has a quote, my right. Music is not Jewish, maybe I was influenced emotionally by the Jewish thing, but this is American, and I get that a lot.
But you even think about the anti-Semitism at that time.
Yeah.
And now, every Christmas, I do, a list of, I tweet every day, love this song, this Christmas song, Jew wrote it,
Yeah, I guess at that time, they were also coming from countries where they didn't belong, and they really wanted to belong.
Right.
The story of Take Me Out to the Ball Game is like the greatest Jewish American,
right.
It was written by a guy working for Irving Berlin who had never been to a baseball game, read an article about baseball in a Yiddish New York paper. And, I don't care if I never get back. It's really about wanting to belong, not about baseball. Yeah. It's really fascinating,
But yeah, they wanted to leave all that negativity and, okay, well, here's a new world. This is not our only identity. And then once it gets lost, you're like, wait a minute, no, this is who we are. So I feel like we go through phases, but I do think in my comedy, because I was brought up in such an environment of, being so proud to be Jewish, I've always talked about being Jewish. I get criticized by Jews. Why do you have to do that? You're doing your mother, she's a stereotype. And I'm like, I'm talking about my Jewish mother. You're sitting in your Upper West Side apartment criticizing me, but I'm in Alabama talking about my Jewish mother. So shut up,
Yeah. Yeah. It's even interesting with our name of our festival. We were the Atlanta Jewish Music Festival, and people didn't like the name. And they all said, if you had started as the Atlanta Jewish Comedy Festival, that's a cool name. Atlanta Jewish Music Festival, that's a terrible name. There was just one word. It was fascinating.
It's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, do you feel a part of like some great Jewish American tradition or Jewish tradition in American comedy? Like when people teach a class on, oh, you do, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I feel like my whole life in comedy, I was told you're too Jewish. Don't talk about being Jewish. It was the number one. And then I came out of the closet, and then I was like, don't talk about being gay. I was like, don't deny. This is who I am. You can't be a comedian without truly being who you are. And don't say these are things you can't talk about. This is no. So I do feel like, yes, I feel a part of, it's something I say, I talk about all the time. I have jokes about the Holocaust that people, will get annoyed, and I'll say, I talk about the Holocaust every night on stage. And they're not Holocaust, they're not horrible, it's about my son wanting to get a tattoo, but there are, it's really interesting that until I said, I had this manager who told me to dye my hair blonde and straighten it. And I was like, okay. And then it got to the point where, no, I earned this. I earned the right to be on the stage, and I should be able to talk about whatever I want. And, thank God for the Jews, because Jews love comedy. And so many of us make a really good living performing for Jews, at Jewish community centers, for Jewish organizations. Comedy is so, I don't see people at, I don't see, churches, Catholic churches bringing comedians in to do their fundraiser,
Yeah.
We love comedy. It is so uniquely a big part of who we are. And also, as my mother would say, if we weren't laughing, we'd be crying. And that's so true.
Yeah.
If we sat here and thought about our plight, we would sit here and cry.
Well, it's interesting because a lot of my mentors are older, probably older than 85-year-old Black men who really relate to the Jewish thing with me. And
Yeah.
I have this one mentor, Les McCann, and he called me on Yom Kippur. And he says, Joe, did you go to synagogue today? I said, yeah. And I said, have you ever been to a synagogue? He said, yeah, my favorite story ever happened at a synagogue. I said, what was it? He said, there was a club in LA back in the day called the Lighthouse, owned by this Jewish guy. And all the Black musicians loved it. And when he died, they went to his funeral at the synagogue, and the rabbi's giving the eulogy, going on and on about John Levine, John Levine. And then Les said, all of a sudden you hear from the back of the synagogue, one of the Black musicians yell, it's Levine, motherfucker. I don't know if you feel it with you. I mean, I really feel this. I listen to Billie Holiday sing My Yiddish.
Oh, Nina Simone. Forget it. I can't. Oh, yeah. I am fascinated by her. I love her. I mean, yeah, Billie Holiday. Yes. Nat King Cole. Yeah. I know Les McCann. How do I know Les McCann?
Compared to what? Probably trying to make it real. Compared to what?
What do you mean?
Oh, that was his big hit. But he also discovered like Lou Rawls and Roberta Flack and a bunch of people.
I know him. I don't know how I know him, but I know.
Oh him. Yeah. But it's interesting because like I'll talk to all these Jewish musicians who felt like growing up they were somehow connected to the Black musicians that they love listening to. And I think most music, except for Jewish, stuff and a lot of African-American music, the goal is precision. But I feel like with this, it's kind of telling the truth. I mean, I saw
and telling a story, I think too.
Yeah. I saw an interview with Dylan.
The blues. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and someone said to Dylan, like, what do you say to people who say you have a bad voice? And he says he remembered hanging out with Sam Cooke one time, and someone said, Sam Cooke, God, you've got a great voice. And Sam Cooke said, thank you, but you shouldn't judge a voice by its quality. You need to judge a voice by how much it's convincing you that it's telling the truth. And
wow, I love that.
I loved that. Yeah.
When you take the comedian's intent, which was just to make you laugh and tell you the stupid joke, when you can find something to be offended at, if you want to, if that's your personality, or you can say, I'm here to laugh, and that's a funny joke, and it doesn't diminish the horror of the Holocaust. We're not saying it didn't happen. We're not saying it, we're not revising it. We're, I don't know.
No, yeah. I mean, with the producers, poking fun at Hitler.
Right.
Yeah.
And Charlie Chaplin had a right. Charlie Chaplin had a film about Hitler,
the dictator,
too. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, the dictator. Yep.
Yeah. I sometimes I'll see you online, and it's a great feeling when you bitch about something that I also like to bitch about. I identify it's validating in a way. And
right.
It really is. And one thing I don't think I've seen you talk about, but it bothers me. I'm just curious if it bothers you at all. Is all these Jewish social media accounts that say like, the 10 most Jewish things about bacon, whatever. I saw one. It was let's guess, could the characters on Parks and Recreation possibly be Jewish? And it's always, I don't know. Do you see this stuff online? It's
sort of like this. There's this outreach of saying, see, it's for people who have, I think, are young and don't care about being Jewish. Yeah. And it's like, I think it's a way, I think that's what it's there for. But I don't know how you're going to change people's minds by saying, well, this is Jewish, so you're more, so you are Jewish, or like, if you like that, then you're a Jew.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't force people. They have to have their own experiences. My son is going to play basketball in Israel this summer for the Maccabi games, or Maccabi. Cool. I don't know. Everyone says it differently. And they had these tryouts, right? They had these at Duke, over the summer. Now, my son grew up in Manhattan and went to Hebrew school, whatever, and surrounded by Jews or Jewish-y people. And one of his friends grew up on Long Island and then went to prep school with a lot of non-Jews. And they were at the tryouts at Duke and they're all Jewish athletes from all over the country trying out to play in these games. And the guy who had grown up on Long Island and went to prep school, we were having dinner and he's like, it's so weird. Like, everyone on the court gets my jokes. We all laugh at the same thing. And we just get each other and we get the sarcasm, and it's like I don't have to explain anything. And his father was like, see, I've been trying to tell you this. So, you can deny it and you can say, look at these people on Parks and Rec or have Jewish thing. But until you put someone in that environment where they're the only Jew and they feel like, oh, wait, what's different about me? I mean, that's what I think, this way, this kid was so used to being, not a part of just being like, or whatever. And then seeing, oh my God, I belong with these people, it's.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there's so much stuff that Jewish people can connect on. And I get frustrated when I see a lot of these sites that are talking about things that aren't really Jewish and trying to make
there's other ways of connecting. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I just had two more things.
Okay.
One is, I guess, I think I when I met a lot of my mentors, I really wanted to learn how to play like them. And the message I got from meeting them was, you're never going to play like me because we haven't lived the same life, but you've lived a cool life, so lean into that. And so I guess the deeper I get into music, the more I realize that everything I learned relating to music really helps you with figure yourself out. And so I was just curious, is your goal, obviously you want to make people laugh, but do you feel the same way about comedy? Like deeper you get, the more you learn about yourself. Is it like a self exploration kind of thing?
It's funny because definitely your life informs your comedy. And your experiences. But yeah, it's I think I'm so comfortable on stage because I've been doing this since I'm 19 years old. So I feel really comfortable and free that often I will walk around with a premise, and it does go deeper because I feel like I can go deeper because I've already conquered that. Please like me. I really want to say more profound things. I really do. I mean, in laughter, but I want to find new things, and, all of our experiences inform what we think is funny. And so I lived through the AIDS crisis and, with my friends who are my age, and we say things about the AIDS crisis, or we reference it, or we use terms that young kids today are appalled by. And it's like, you can't say that, this whole new thing of you can't say that and you can't say that. No, I can. I have lived through this thing and I can say that because my intention and my experience is not you at 20 years old telling me what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. Okay, I think about Hillary Clinton and how there were so many people, young women, who were like, you know what? There's going to be a female president in my lifetime. Why does it have to be her? These 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds. I don't like her. Why does it have to be her? And you juxtapose that with the 100-year-old woman being, wheeled into the voting booth saying, I never thought I would live to see the day that I could vote for a woman. Now, these 19-year-olds are going to say to her, oh, you're crazy. No. It's a whole different, you earn the right to say things.
Totally.
You don't earn the right to tell people not to say things when you're 19, 20 years old.
Yeah. And not to tie too much into this, but after what happened at the Oscars, are you like worried about the future of what
Oh my God,
heckling
yes.
could be? I mean, is that
It's such a part of, of stand up. Every
yeah.
journalist will ask you, "Oh, any heckling?" It's like a common, it's part, there's
Mhm.
no fourth wall.
Yeah.
And we don't get up there to be assaulted.
Right.
If you don't like a joke, don't laugh.
Right.
If you don't like, you're a musician.
Mhm.
I talk about this in my book about a friend of mine who went to a concert. I forgot what band it was, but she was so excited, and she gets to the concert and it's a new album and it's all new songs.
Mm.
And she's like,
Mm.
and does she say that band should never play again in
Right.
public because they wrote some songs that she didn't like? No.
Right.
But for a comedian, it's like you say one thing and that's it. You should be
Mhm.
no, just don't laugh at the
Yeah.
joke. Move on.
Yeah.
It's not about you. It's
Mhm.
not about you.
Yeah. Mhm. Gosh, it's frustrating. Man.
It is. It's
Yeah.
so frustrating.
Ah, man. Wow.
And that
Well,
was a stupid joke. That was it was a
yeah.
GI. You heard what Chris said. He's like, "Whoa, over a GI Jane joke." That was what the joke was for him. It was
Mhm.
about a GI Jane, a movie. A stupid joke, a reference to a stupid movie, and her shaving her head.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that's it. It wasn't about alopecia. It
Mhm.
wasn't about, you're dissing my. And why does a woman need a guy to go defend her? That's
Yeah.
the other thing.
Mhm. It was
Ugh, the whole
bizarre.
thing makes me sick. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this might be one of the weirdest questions you've ever gotten, but I have to ask. Um, I met someone, I don't remember who it was. This was about 15 years ago, and this always stuck with me. And when I was starting out college, someone was doing a PhD paper who I met on the similarities and differences between female and male comedians. That's what she said her whole PhD was about. And this might be the weirdest question, honestly, but it's been stuck in my head. So I'm not saying I agree with her. I'm just curious what you
Right.
think about. So I basically asked her, what's your main point in your PhD? What's your biggest finding? And she said that female comedians are more or less off stage how they are on stage, but not male comedians. Male comedians are nothing like they are on stage. This could be, again, the stupidest question ever, but I can't get out of my head.
That's what she got from her. That's a PhD thing.
Apparently. I met her for 5 minutes and I still couldn't stop thinking about it. So I don't know if it ever happened, but
Men are less.
like the
That is
same,
so.
is that totally wrong in your opinion?
I just not. I've never even thought about that.
Yeah.
I think the difference between women comedians and male comedians is, well, women are way funnier.
Of course.
And that when a guy walks on stage, they're already accepted and not objectified. And the obstacles and hurdles that we have to, the invisible ones that are there, and the misogyny and the fact that there's nothing ladylike about stand-up, and the fact that you're in a powerful position when you are on stage, controlling a room, eliciting a response from the audience. Like, you're in control, and we equate control and power in this country with masculinity, with males. So if that's what she got out of that, that is really sad.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
That's what you get.
I met this I had to ask. then I'll close
what yes, go ahead.
Oh, no. Well,
I want to know what college I
think it was NYU, actually. It was someone up in New York when I was in school, but
wow.
There was a lot of strange stuff. But
yeah,
the last thing was, did you perform in front of your heroes? Like, what was that? I performed in front of a few of my heroes, and it was the first time was like the scariest thing in the world. And then you kind of learn how to do it. Did you do that? And was it a scary experience and something you had to learn how to approach?
I think It is scary. And you want to do so well, but you know what's the worst to perform in front of? People
Mm.
who really know you.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
family members. That's the worst.
Mhm.
But yes, I did 2 off-Broadway shows. Joan came. Yes, I have performed, and you just want to be great.
Mhm.
But I think the hardest is looking out in that audience and seeing a disapproving relative, or
Mm.
you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
someone who means a lot to you, but
Mhm.
it is to make someone you really respect, to make them laugh.
Mhm.
It's the greatest feeling. It's so
Yeah.
great.
Mm.
Someone who is, has a discerning taste
Mm.
for comedy. Or someone who tells you, "Oh, I think that to me is, I think you're funny," or "That's a great joke." There's
Mm.
nothing that compares.
Oh, it's hard to beat. Yeah. Nice. Well, I mean, that's really all. I mean, that's a lot, but it's just fun to
Yes.
talk with
You're
you.
so cute.
Did you know Dick Gregory at all?
I didn't know.
No, no. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
I did a double bill with him one time.
No way.
Yeah, can I tell you what happened? It was just like one of the greatest
Yeah.
moments of my life. I was familiar with his stuff, like his early stuff, and I knew about his activism career, but I truthfully, this was in 2015. I didn't know any of his recent stuff. So it was at the Kennedy Center. I was flying up and I'm like, I'm going to listen to his stuff, his recent stuff. And it was very, honestly anti-white. And
Right.
my trio is 3 white guys for this show. And the Kennedy Center people are like, you're going to give the mic to Dick Gregory and then he's going to introduce you guys. And I'm like, he is going to shit all over us in front of his
Right.
audience. I was so nervous. But he walks out, he takes the mic for me, he looks at me and he looks at the audience and then he goes, see, integration works. It was the greatest moment. It was so great.
Yeah, but that's his experience as a black
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, I loved it.
Can't
Yeah.
deny that. Yeah.
Yeah. My buddy Les McCann, he was really tight with Red Fox. He was telling me about a
Oh,
tour they did. He said that they
yeah.
did a tour in Detroit, or a show in Detroit, and a bunch of nuns came over from Canada. And there's like 300 nuns, and Red Fox walks out and goes, "How you motherfuckers doing?" And they all walked out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And he said they're walking out, and he goes,
I love that.
yeah, he said they're walking out and he goes, "Oh, you think you were getting Fred Sanford today? Fuck Fred Sanford. You're getting Red Fox tonight." I just
That's the
loved it.
best.
I love that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fun to tell stories and share stories and talk with you.
Yeah.
I appreciate this. I mean, I
Thank
know we
you.
talked about
I
a
had
lot.
fun.
Yeah. I mean, anything I missed or anything you want to like promote or. All right.
Oh, I don't know if you can see.
Oh,
Yeah.
there it is. All right.
Okay. So
We will
that.
spread the word.
And yeah. And just come see me if I'm in a city near you.
Nice. We'll get you back to Atlanta for sure.
I can't
fun.
wait.
Yes, we're gonna make it happen.
All right, good.
Awesome. But thanks for today. This was so special, and we'll send you the
Oh,
chat
thank
too.
you for having me.
Of course.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Chat.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. Well,
All
I hope you
right.
have a good weekend and
Thank you.
stuff. Oh,
You
thank you.
too.
All righty. We'll talk to
All
you
right.
later.
All right.
Thanks.
So long.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Great programming like this is only possible because of supporters like you. So if you're interested in supporting Neranenah, check us out online at neranenaharts.org. Thanks so much.